Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Harry Man Talks. I'm your host, Harry Man, and today we have a special guest. We have a travel vlogger who has visited countries such as Ethiopia, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and recently Pakistan. He has amassed over 2 million views on YouTube and gained over 17,000 subscribers. He's a charismatic, friendly, always smiling gentleman. Please welcome Myer from Myer Travels. Thank you for having, or thank you for
Thank
being on.
thank you for having me, man. It's a long time coming. We've been in touch since for like almost 2 years now, just going back and forth, motivating each other about content and all that. So it's good to finally sit down with you and everything.
Yeah, I remember when you started the travel vlog, I saw the first video. And how many subs were you at?
So when I started, man, I pretty much started from like zero. You're talking about it's been about 8 months now. So yeah, I started in September. I guess you could say I started dropping content in September of 2022. Yeah, so yeah, it's been about 7, 8 months now, and yeah, I pretty much started at zero, dude. Yeah, I used to drop like beats on there before. Like I produce beats also. I've always kind of been like trying to do something creative. But I didn't really have any subscribers when I started, so yeah, it's kind of just from zero, I guess you could say.
So before the travel channel, like you said you were doing beats, what else were you doing? Like,
So, like yourself, I was also doing a podcast before. And I was always like, since I've been young, man, I've always kind of been like the creative one in my family. And, I just, you know, always had that like knack for doing something creative and the desire to do it. Whether it was music, I used to like rap and stuff. I used to sing before that. I had actually all started by me writing poetry when I was young, and I just always had the desire to just pursue something creative because I feel like that's something that like God gives us, is like not everyone is a creative. Some people are like analytic, some people are very logical, and I think one gift that God gives some people is like creativity, the ability to do something using your imagination or just using the skills that you have, um, and then being able to like just kind of spiral and use those to do whatever you want creatively. So I feel like I've always been like that, So it was like music and stuff, and then podcast, making beats,
yeah,
and yeah, now this, I guess.
that's awesome. So like why the certain destinations like Ethiopia, like Philippines, like why do you choose these places?
Okay, so I started my channel, my first series, as you may know, was in Ethiopia. And the reason why I started in Ethiopia, bro, because I used to live in Ethiopia. I was a teacher there for like a year and a half. So I would say like my love for travel actually grew through being a teacher overseas. I was a teacher in China, and then I was a teacher in Ethiopia. Um, and originally, I actually went to China. It's a funny story. Originally, I went to China for medical school. I ended up, you know, leaving because I was like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not doctor material. I got through a few years of it just because of like trying to please my parents and like making sure like, I was holding up that end of my deal that I would do it. But eventually I just had to tell them the truth. Like, I really don't want to do this. So like, I don't want to spend my life doing something to please other people. And deep down inside, I'm going to be like miserable. So I finally gained the courage, and I grew up in my father's Pakistani, just like yours, and like, you know how it is, like the pressure to like, education, all of that, which is really important. But um, me personally, I just didn't want to do that. So I ended up going to teach. I started teaching English, and then I parlayed that into teaching at an international school and teaching like all kind of primary subjects. And that kind of grew my love for traveling because when I was in China, I would travel around Asia a little bit, and then I actually went to Ethiopia to start teaching there. And so the reason why I chose Ethiopia as my first series was because I already knew the country and I saw it was a place that like a lot of people weren't really doing travel vlogging wise. Like,
Yeah.
you had a few big guys who went there, but as far as like, like some of these Southeast Asian countries, every travel vlogger is doing it, like Thailand and Indonesia and Bali and all these places are like totally played out. But Ethiopia was a place where I was like, okay, I know this place. I speak a little bit of the language. I know how to get around. I know some people there. I was like, why don't I just go? So I like made the plan and I left and I was like, let me do it. That's why I chose Ethiopia as my first destination.
That's awesome. And I mean, we don't have to put this in if you don't want, but like during like I was just always curious, like while you were in Ethiopia, like what were you doing for work? Like were you still teaching or like
Yeah, yeah. Oh, bro, you could put everything in, man. I'm an open book at this point in my life. Yeah, no, I was a teacher, bro. I was 100% there to teach. And yeah, that was it. I was a teacher at an elementary school. I was a third and fourth grade teacher, and I loved it, man. It was very fulfilling, very, very fulfilling job. I think I helped a lot of kids like find themselves, and I had a lot of parents approach me and were like, from the beginning of the year till the end of the year, like my kid has really I've seen a change in them. And that was like one of the best things and one of the best compliments I ever received was like that I was able to help these kids like just not even like on a educational level as far as like material wise, but more of just like the desire to like learn and social skills and taking pride in who they are and where they're from. And so it was very, very fulfilling. Teaching was like was great. It was a great experience.
that's awesome. Like have you ever thought about like coaching sports or
Yeah, yeah. So when I was there, I would coach like so basketball is not a big sport in Africa. The biggest sport over there is obviously soccer, football. And you know, I tried to get the kids into basketball and stuff because I'm a basketball player just like yourself. And some of the kids loved it. Some of the kids wanted to do it just because they're like, "Oh, Mr. Myers doing it. All right, we want to learn it." You know what I mean? They just wanted to like, like impress me kind of like, "Oh, I want to, like I want to learn it." And so I did teach a little bit. I used to coach in China as well. I was coaching like a youth basketball kind of. Um but yeah, coaching is something that I would really consider in any facet, not just like with sports, but like, any kind of like training that I could do in the future, whether it be with, even like content creation or helping people with like traveling. That's something I've been thinking about too recently. Obviously, I'm not there yet with the traveling thing. Like I feel like I have a lot more to learn myself and then I'll be able to like pass on some knowledge and wisdom that I gain over time.
Trilla? Um, so I just noticed that like in the vlogs, I watch some of the vlogs here and there, um, especially the Pakistan ones. I kept up with all of them because I like I need someone like Rayhan, but because I don't have any family members that are willing to show me around.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you keeping up, man.
For sure. Like, but I noticed that like you're very confident. You're not afraid of like the awkwardness. You're always greeting people with a smile, and you're not really because it's kind of awkward, like at first to hold the camera out
Oh
and
yeah.
like what made you like how did you gain that confidence and
So you're absolutely right, man. Like holding holding the camera and walking around and it takes time to get over that awkwardness. And you know what's crazy is like you never truly get over it. There's still moments where you're like, if it comes into your mind, you're like, what the heck am I doing? I'm walking around with this camera and people are looking at me like, what the hell? You know what I mean? But you just the confidence actually for me it comes from like I've always kind of been like an extrovert. Though I love my space, man. Like I would actually call myself like an omnivert because I like to be in my solitude sometimes and have my own privacy and peace most of the time. But as far as like shining when I'm around people, like I've always been that guy, like in my family and everything, like, you know, I'm the guy that like kind of like brings everybody out of their shell, like let's have fun. And I've always kind of been that dude. And then as far as like the confidence of like just talking to people, for the last few years before I got started full time doing this traveling thing, I was in real estate and in sales. And real estate is face-to-face sales. You got to talk to people straight up, face to face. You got to meet them, meet random people that you just had one conversation with, and kind of basically sell them the most important decision of their life, which is buying a house, right? One of the most important decisions of their life. And so I guess the confidence came from that, being able to just like talk to anyone. And in real estate, you deal with all kinds of personalities. You deal with like, men, women, couples, the dynamic between them two. You kind of just learn how to juggle every situation that's thrown at you. So I think that really trained me for dealing with people. But I've always been like an empathetic kind of person who like I read the room really well. I think those are the skills that I've gained over time in life, is just like learning. Like I'm very good at like feeling when I don't belong. I'm very good at feeling when somebody's feeling upset, or they're feeling awkward, or they're feeling, tense. And I'm able to like kind of break that tension sometimes. So I think, yeah, those are skills that I've gained over time. A lot of those things aren't naturally in you. These are things that like through every situation you go through in life, through every job you're gonna go through, you kind of pick up these skills, or you hope to. I mean, that being said, there's a lot of people who don't pick up these skills, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because you have to have all kinds of people. Not everybody can be this outgoing, like, jubilous extrovert. You need your introverts. You need the guys who sit there and code, you know what I mean? So like but that's just who I am by nature in many ways. So I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah, I think you do that well in the vlogs. Like if someone like they kind of feel uncomfortable with the camera, you don't like sit there and like keep pointing the camera at them. You just kind of walk away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta know when it's your time to just like, all right, this isn't working. And you can't try to turn every situation. Like sometimes it just doesn't work. And that's just life, bro. Like, it's like you're gonna deal with all kinds of people. And but as far as like the awkward thing, bro, it still happens a lot of times, man. Like some things get cut out too. Like there's some really awkward moments sometimes. But like as far as the confidence, like I don't care anymore, because I'm like, I know I'm not doing anything wrong. My goal with travel vlogging has never been to like expose, or like, make like shock value content where I'm trying to like, make people look bad. My goal has always been to like just try to show the positives, the real side of things. Yeah, along with that, sometimes things do come into the content which may not be the most flattering things for these countries, but it's just the reality of things. You know what I mean? So, with that in mind, with God in mind, knowing that my intentions are, niyat is everything. Like when you go into something, your intentions are everything, right? So my intentions are good. So with that comes the confidence of like, I know I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for it, man.
You ever thought about having like a cameraman and then you have the mic?
Yeah, yeah, that's eventually the plan, bro. But like obviously to have that, you need to be making good amounts of money, and I'm not there yet. Thank God I'm monetized and I'm making money and I'm doing enough to like be able to do this full time, but I'm not there yet. But I do want to build a team. But as
Yeah.
far as having a cameraman like full time with me, it's also like the reason why I'm able to do this as flexible as I'm able to do it is because like I don't need somebody with me at all times. I just pick up and go. Like I'm in a country one day and the next day I'm in another place with a
Yeah.
15-hour layover in another place. Like I don't I'm on my own schedule. I did this because I don't want to work for anybody with anybody. I work with people as I go along, but like, I don't need another person attached to my schedule, you
Yeah.
know? But like with content that like you're making, it's local, you know what you're gonna do before you kind of do it. It's not really super spontaneous. Yeah, in that case, you are able to hire somebody to film and edit. Sorry, not edit. Edit you can do anywhere, but as far as filming, you need somebody who's gonna kind of be there with you throughout the whole thing, right? So it's tough to do that when you're traveling country to country and stuff.
And I think the kind of content you're making, like your niche, like the walking through the city videos, there's something like just soothing about it. And it kind of feels like I'm walking there with you. And
Cool.
it's also the personality because if you didn't have the outgoing, like friendly personality where you're going up to people, then I don't think anybody would watch. Like it would just be a video of somebody walking through and not saying anything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. Like in life you got to use the skills you have, you know. Um there's some people who are really good like cinematographers. I'm not. I know that, you know. My content, if you watch it, is not the most like highly cinematic and edited kind of content. My shit is pretty raw, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is, you know. But the skill that I have is again like being able to, communicate and just like get on the same level with people, you know. And so I use that, you know.
what's the weirdest like experience or person you've like encountered through these travel vlogs?
Um, the weirdest. I've had some funny moments, man. Like you know, like in my actually one of my first videos, which this was like when I was brand new in vlogging, like I'm walking and all of a sudden these like dancers in Ethiopia just come up to me and they're like I was like a little bit worried at first. I was taken back by it, but I stayed calm. If you watch the video, it's the video. The name of the video is "I Get Attacked on the Street" in Ethiopia. But really, I got attacked by dancers, you know. But then they were dancing. They were doing like traditional dancing, but they had like this lion's mane on. They put it on me, and I was not ready for all of that. You know, it was really a random, strange encounter. But yeah, it was just like trying to stay calm in that situation. And I think like that's one of the most successful videos till this day. I think because of that, like, that funny kind of encounter with those people. In these countries where I guess you could say developing countries, you have people who beg for money a lot. And so I've had some, tricky situations where I don't try to show that stuff too much, man, because like, they call that like poverty porn and stuff. Like I'm not really into that. You have a lot of vloggers who do this like I'm giving money and I'm gonna show it, Like if I'm gonna help somebody, a lot of times it's just gonna be off camera because even in Islam, it's like when you help somebody, it's like that should be between you and God, really. Your intention should be clean. So I've had some funny situations with that stuff too. Yeah, there's stuff along the way that's happened that's crazy. And you see a lot of crazy things, man. Like, this time being in Pakistan, like just humbling experiences, man. Just stuff that like, like in the US, we don't get reminders. We don't get daily reminders because like life is comfortable here, man. Like, being back here after 8 months, I just got back to the States just to see family and stuff. And like, you walk around and like, yeah, we find problems here, but like, you know, for the most part, life is pretty comfortable here. Am I
Yeah.
right or wrong?
No, we're spoiled. Even like the lower class people who live in poverty, like compared to over there, like we're pretty spoiled.
Yeah, yeah. And so like in these countries, you get these daily reminders of people who like are really struggling, man, and like, you know, it's it just like hits you sometimes, man. Like, why am I so blessed? Like, why was I so lucky to not have to go through this? I have those thoughts a lot these days, you know? And when I see things like that, and I see like these young kids who like most of them will never have any opportunities.
Mm.
Most of them. If one or two of them gets lucky, the right person, they meet the right people, they work hard, they get out of the situation that they're in. But these street kids in Pakistan who like have nothing, they were born with nothing. Their parents don't care. They're out in the streets. Even if I don't even know if they have parents or not. And it's just so sad, man. They're like rummaging through garbage to like just live through daily life. Like some of the things I see, man, and like it really affects me, man, on a deep level. So I hope that I can do something to like help people out in some way. That's also the goal of this too is like, to be able to use it to like help people out, like grow this platform big enough. I always pray to God for that. Like, just give me a chance. Yeah.
Have you ever met like someone in the vlogs or while you're traveling that became your friend?
Yeah. Um, in the vlogs that became my friend.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, I mean, not like friend, like as far as like, am I gonna like travel there again to see them? No, not like that. But like as far as like making friends, it happens a lot, through traveling and even through vlogging. It does because you're out, you're about, you're filming, people get curious. They're like, what are you doing? And then you talk to them and yeah, you end up making friends. I've made a lot of friends over the last few months, but you know, um, more like acquaintances, some people that I'll keep in touch with here and there. But yeah, I wouldn't say like deep friendship, it doesn't really come from that. For me, friendship is like the people that I know from way back in the day and like people who know me for real, you know what I mean? Other than that, it's like acquaintances. I don't go around making friends with everyone, I'm not that kind of person. Like I'm very friendly with everyone and I'm cool and we could talk and chill or whatever, but like as far as like deep friend, what I consider to be deep friendship, I think that takes time, to build.
Yeah,
Like yeah. So but I have friends who've been included in my vlogs who I consider good friends.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So you always end the vlog with this saying, I might be saying it wrong, but continue to learn, continue to grow. There's no growth in staying. So could you say it for me one time?
Continue to learn, continue to grow, and there is no growth until you leave your comfort zone.
Mm,
Yeah. And the reason why, I guess, the reason why I say that is because like I felt that personally, and my comfort zone in that case was just like what I was used to, my bubble, living in America, you know, and when I left this place and I learned about other cultures, learned about other people, saw the situations that other people have to deal with day to day, that's when I started learning and really growing as a person, you know, not just, like I said, not just education like in school. Because, and, someone may listen to this and might be like, oh, this guy's just, taking a poo poo all over education in school. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not the best student either, but the reason why I say these things is because like we put a lot of emphasis on that stuff, but we don't really put emphasis on like life skills anymore and like the learning about people and learning about other circumstances than our own, knowing that there's a world outside besides our own, especially here in this bubble. And it happens everywhere. I've seen it. People get in their bubble and you forget how people are living outside. Now, because of social media more and more, you're starting to see people have, opened up their horizons a little bit, but still, it's pretty, you get wrapped up in this, rat race, I guess you can call it, and you forget your blessings that you have sometimes. And so, getting out of my comfort zone, which was being here in America, really taught me a lot, right? And just getting out of your comfort zone doesn't have to just be what I'm saying, like getting out of America and like, traveling. That's my comfort zone. That's what I want to do. I got out of it. Getting out of comfort zone could be something as simple as like, you want to lose weight and you don't know how to do it, but you don't like going to the gym. You don't like running. But because why? Because it makes you uncomfortable. But you know what? You get up every single day and you go and you run and you work out hard. And what does that teach you? It teaches you discipline. It teaches you that if you work hard at something, that you can accomplish it. That goals are just you committing. So when I say get out of your comfort zone, everybody has a different comfort zone. There's some people who work the same job their whole lives. They never tried anything else.
mm,
Could be like something like, you know what, go try something else. You never know. Listen, yeah, I know you're in your comfortable little bubble. You're making, $20,000, $30,000 a year, but maybe if you try something else, you might be good at it. You might be great at it, and at least you learn something along the way. So that's why I say that because I personally felt that.
Did you ever feel like you were in a plateau or you were stagnant and you had to like change something?
Bro, I always feel like that. I never feel fulfilled, man. It's a good and a bad thing, I guess, you know. It's a good thing in the sense like, yeah, I'm always like aiming for the next thing and you know, I want to like keep growing as I always say and changing and learning and but also it's a bad thing sometimes because like I'm afraid of like settling, you know. Sometimes settling is okay, you know. Just depends what you're settling on, who you're settling with, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely felt like that, bro. Definitely felt like that many times in my life. Um, but I'll be honest, man, like I was just telling this to my parents actually that like this is the first time in my life where like I found something that I love to do and I get up like it wakes me up every day. I get up at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., sometimes 6 a.m. and I'm like ready to work and I'm excited to work. Like it's not like, oh, I gotta go work and this and that. And I'm not making the most money I have. I was making a lot more money in real estate, but I'm just like really happy to do it because I love it and I want to get really good at it. I want to be the best travel vlogger. I want to be the best traveler in general. I want to be the best displayer of other nations that I visit. I want to be the best at it, you know? And so like I'm always trying to like get better at it and that chase helps me like stay excited, you know? And then the next place also like, well, where am I going next? You know, what am I going to encounter? Or what crazy situations am I going to run into that I'm going to have to somehow get out of? And all of that, man. It's just like it's exciting for me, man. And you know, people always say like, oh, find something that like sparks your interest, and then you'll, you know. I used to be like, you know, what are they talking about? Like, but now I really feel that, and the fact that I'm making money from doing something that I love, that's just the icing on the cake, brother. You know.
That's awesome. You kind of answered my next question, which was like, what are your next goals? But my other question was, what are the next countries are you have on your list?
So, you know, as you said before, like why do you choose these countries, right? So now, yeah, I choose these countries because I'm interested in them and I want to do them, but also like now I'm realizing like where my market is, you know, and Africa, I see myself like really doing well there, you know, and the reason why is because I think I stand out there. You know, as I guess as funny as it may sound, like you know, people like to watch people that look different in a nation where they're not looking like everybody else. Like my Pakistan vlogs aren't doing as good as my Africa vlogs. Why? Because I'm just another Pakistani in Pakistan, you know. Maybe when they see the thumbnail, they're like, oh, he's just one of us. But when there's, you know, a Caucasian or a black guy or somebody who's in Pakistan, they do really well because like Pakistanis are probably like, oh wow, I want to click on this. I want to see why what kind of situations did he encounter? You know, it must be crazy to see his reaction to the foods, to the people, to the culture, to the religion, all of it, you know. Whereas me, I grew up with this, you know, even though I'm American and you know, but I'm still Pakistani. So I think being in a place where you stand out a little bit helps in this space. So my goal is now to go to more African countries. So I want to try to go to like Somalia. I want to try to go to Nigeria, Ghana, you know, these kind of African countries that a lot of people don't really vlog um, you know, there unless they're African or you know, there's a few big guys that have done it, you know. And and again, this is getting out of my comfort zone, bro, because you know what, for me, I could be really comfortable and just stay in Asia.
Mm.
To me, that's still comfortable. Imagine for a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, bro, you're crazy for going to Pakistan." For me, that's still comfy. I'm still, you know, I was thinking about, I was like, it's still, it's too easy. I gotta do something a little bit more challenging. Plus, my market is over there, right? So, like, I wanna grow that side of it. Like, I wanna build my base over there because it's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like in any other business, man, like you gotta build your base first. I was trying to do it all, so I'm learning more and more. It's okay. Stick to one thing. Build your base. Build your following then take them with you in different places. You know what I mean? So, alhamdulillah, man, like in these last 7 months, I've built a base. Like I went from, like I told you, zero to I'm pretty much almost at 18,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Thank God, alhamdulillah, right? And I worked really hard to get there. And I'm just gonna work harder. My goal is 100,000 by the end of 2023. You know what I'm saying? Stamp that. Let's see.
You gotta
So
next
so yeah.
stop, Myer travels to North Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. That's in the books, man. That's in the plans for sure. But um risky business, bro. Risky business going to North Korea, bro. You
Yeah.
know, like you do one wrong thing, man, you ain't coming back. So, you know.
Yo, where'd he go? He went MIA.
Yeah. You heard about that American kid who like all he did was like touched or like took a piece of a poster off of a hotel wall and they had him locked up for like years, man. And then like when they sent him back, he was in terrible condition and he died when he came back.
Wow.
You didn't hear about that? His name is Otto Wambir.
Let me look
Look him up, man. It's a crazy story, but yeah, they don't play around, man. They don't play around. So I don't know about that yet, but eventually.
Would you, this might not be in your interest, but would you vlog visiting any cities in the US?
So right now, I'm not so interested in it because US doesn't really spark me. You know, I mean, when you're from a place, it doesn't really make you feel super excited. And I mean, I'm sure you know what I mean by that, right? But um I might do a few US vlogs out here, you know. I'm trying to think more creatively out here rather than just walking and showing and which some people might be interested in because I got a base that's outside of the US. So they might want to see what the US looks like through my lens. But I might try to do something a little bit different out here, just show some unique situations, maybe ask people questions on the street, that type of stuff, you know, based off of my travels, something like that. I'm trying to figure it out. But right now, not so much, man, with America. I think once I build this base that I'm talking about, like, you know, at least 100,000, then I'll come back to America and I'll show those people America because
South
then
America?
they'll want to see it. See, people don't when in content creation, people don't fall in love with just the content. They fall in love with you as a person, right? So they can look at Nigeria or they can look at America through all different videos. They can go on Google right now and search it. But why did they do it through you? Why do they want to see things through you? Is because they fall in love with you as a person. So
Yeah.
once you build that base, they want to see you wherever you go. They want to see whatever you're trying to show them, right? So like same for you, right? Like you're gonna build your base wherever it may be, and then you can parlay that into different things, right? So that's what I want to do. So right now, America, not so much because actually I do have a big American audience, so I don't think they would be so interested in seeing America. So right now, I want to build. I have that American audience now. I'm building my audience overseas, and then eventually, yeah, I'll come to America and do that. I want to do it. I mean, I have the opportunity. Why not?
South America?
South America for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Venezuela, you know, Peru, Chile, Argentina, all of these places. Yeah.
So for you've gained a lot of views and following. For the most part in the comments I see love,
Mm.
but I'm sure there's hate.
Yeah.
What is the hate? But I don't understand how you would get hate, but if there is any, what is it and how do you deal with it?
So, bro, you know what's crazy, man? Like, and I'm sure you felt this too. Like, people always find a way to hate, you know? And they'll find the smallest thing. Sometimes people watch and listen to content just to find something wrong that they could hate on, right? Like they'll watch you really hard, man. They're noticing things that you don't even notice or nobody would ever notice, but you could tell that person is just watching with a hateful eye, like just looking for something, looking for blood, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I get kind of like hate on like my appearance sometimes, you know, the way I look. You know, people will make fun of my look. Um, people will make fun of you know, the certain way I handle situations. Um, people will make fun of or say like, "Oh, this guy, he's just taking advantage of these places," things like that. You know, you get that kind of hate. Then there's some really, really rude stuff like people just cursing me out, but those comments get filtered through YouTube. I don't even allow that type of hate to get onto the comments wall because I don't need to deal with that. You feel me? And I don't need other people seeing that when they come to my channel because I got kids watching my channel. I know my cousin's kids that watch my channel, so I don't need cursing and all of that all over my comments, you know? But yeah, I do get hate. Of course I get hate, man. But you know what? When you get hate, you're doing something right, you know? It's cool. I got used to it, bro. At first, it used to really affect me. I used to get really, really like it would mess up my days. Like I would have days where like I would wake up, video's doing great, million good comments. Myer, we love you, blah blah blah. But that one bad comment of like somebody just saying something, not even that rude or whatever, it just got to me, and I would be like, I don't even feel like vlogging. And then when I would vlog, like I would be changing what I'm doing just to like try to appease that one person, when it's like a million other people like what I'm doing. So why am I? Um, but I just think that's the nature of the beast, man. Like this is what I'm doing. I put myself out there in public, so I'm not gonna complain about it. If I wanted to not receive that, then I should have just stayed private. My life, nobody would know who I am, right? So when you do this, when you put yourself out there, yeah, you got to be ready for that, man. You know.
Do you utilize like TikTok, Reels, Shorts?
I'm starting to do that more now. Starting to do that more. I think a lot of the successful vloggers that you see, especially in the travel space, they utilize this quite a bit.
Hmm.
The shorts. We live in a society, in a world now where like people don't have much attention spans. Their attention span, bro. Like if you look at, I see the back end analytics of like retention rates. People can't stay on even a 30-second clip for more than 7 seconds. You got to catch their eye somehow. I
Yeah,
would say like 70% of people don't watch. If a video's 10 minutes, they're watching 4 minutes, 5 minutes, if you're lucky.
yeah,
If you can keep somebody around for that long, you did good, you know? So yeah, the clips help, to attract a different audience. It helps you kind of just you know, uh handle different sides, kind of bring on different sides of things. Like, Facebook is a market of its own, which I'm starting to get into more now. Like people don't realize like Facebook actually pays more than YouTube.
oh wow,
Yeah. So like, if you're getting like, which I'm sure and other content, this is like some real inside kind of like, baseball stuff, whatever you want to call it. But like it's like like if YouTube's paying you like CPM wise, right? If YouTube's giving you like $4, $5 RPM, which is how much you're gonna make per thousand, right?
mm,
Um, Facebook might be giving you $8 for that same thing, $9. So there's a lot of money in Facebook too, man. So don't sleep on that for any content creators that are out there who might be listening or watching to this. Yeah, Facebook is a good place. So I'm gonna definitely try to grow my Facebook now too, because you want to make money on all angles. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So it's cutting clips for me is like one of the most I hate doing it. I hate cutting. I just like making the long form videos, dropping them. I wish I could just hire somebody to do the clips, but like I said, I'm not there yet. But I'm gonna be there soon, inshallah.
Yeah, do you use CapCut or what do you use to edit?
I use Premiere Pro,
Mm.
Adobe.
For your short form as well?
Yeah,
Okay, well, um, last couple questions.
no worries, man. I'm good. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Yeah.
Nah, I mean, if you want to talk about something, I only have two more questions.
Okay. No worries. No worries.
But like, this came to my mind, like, when you're vlogging these experiences in these countries, do you feel like, I mean, I don't know, because you're using the GoPro, so you may not be looking through a lens, but do you feel like you're missing out on the experience because you're filming it?
It's a good question. Um, so I try to spend time in every place that I go aside from recording. Like I'll record, let's say, I go to a city in a country for 3 days, right? I might record all 3 of those days. I might wake up at 8 a.m., do a little bit of work around afternoon when people are out and about. I'll go vlog. And then I might even do a night vlog. But in between that afternoon vlog and that night vlog, I'll just chill.
Mm.
And I might do work on the computer or whatever, but I'll try to go out and just enjoy the place for what it is. But with that being said, man, yeah, it's tough, bro. It's tough. The more work you get, the more you get into this, like you have to remember why you got into it too. Like why did I get into this? Because I enjoy traveling, I enjoy learning about new cultures, and I enjoy the thrill of being in new places, right? But yeah, sometimes, it's like with anything else. Like when you're making the content, you forget why you did it. So you can't forget the why. And I always remind myself of that to enjoy every moment of it because man,
Yeah.
some of the experiences that I'm getting, like first of all, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get them again in life. You don't know how life turns out. So try to enjoy every moment that I can. But yeah, man, it's tough when you're making content because you get so wrapped up in it and you forget to like live real life, you know? So I always try to do a little bit of that too. But the problem also is like, yo, like when you're like, oh, this is a good experience, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna record this too, I'm gonna get this. Like it'd be
Yeah.
silly not to get this.
Yeah.
But you know what, you want to hear something crazy too? With that being said, like I enjoy a lot of I feel like I'm living real life even when I'm vlogging. You know what I mean? Because I'm not when I'm vlogging here with you, when I'm recording with you, this is real. This is who I am. Like
Mm.
I'm not putting on a show. Like if you talk to me off camera, I'll be the same way. You know what I mean? And when I'm on camera, most of the time, it's who I am. So I'm not like, hey guys, this is Myer Travels. Like I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm just being who I am. So I don't have to feel like I'm putting on a show or anything. So I am living real life. Yeah, now am I maybe cursing or maybe like some of the lingo that we might have if we're in a locker room or something? No, I'm not talking like that because I know my audience is I have a younger people watching, so I have to filter those things out. But as far as like who I am and like my personality, that's who I am. So I am living real life. And dude, there's times where like I'm not feeling good, right? Or I'm like just having one of those days, feeling anxious or feeling a little bit down, which we all have, right? And I'll go out for vlogging and it'll literally turn my day around. I'll meet somebody nice, I'll have a good conversation, have a nice meal, talk to some people, and it just turns everything around. So those moments I'm like, you know what? This is real life, you know?
I think that's the beautiful part of traveling is like it's a beautiful place, like different environment, but it's really the people make the place.
100%, bro. 100%. 100%. Like you could be in the most beautiful place in the world, but if it's shitty people, the place sucks.
Yeah.
You could be in a straight up garbage, like, huts, garbage on the floor, slums. But if the people are cool, man, that place is the coolest place.
Yeah.
And I've personally experienced that.
Oh yeah, Kashmir was beautiful, bro. I gotta visit.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. That was such a cool experience, bro. Really, really cool experience. I never thought I would be in Kashmir on the border of India and Pakistan. Imagine,
Yeah.
this is like, a land that has been like fought over for hundred for a long time, and it's still being it's still a point of conflict. Actually when I was there, it's a ceasefire at that time, right? But like they said things could pop off at any time you know? So like there's people in their homes, man, they have like holes in the ceiling and you ask them like what is that? It's like a mortar hit it or like a bullets, there's like bullet holes in some people's like
Yeah.
yeah, so like you see the remnants of conflict like everywhere you go. There was in my one vlog, I even showed it. There's a guy who owns like a mall kind of, right? And by right in the like on in attached to the stores is like a bunker to like basically hide if firing starts. And I asked the guy, I said, do you ever have to use this? He said, yeah, when there was firing going on, we used it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So like, these people just get used to it. There was a guy who I interviewed. I don't know if I think you might have seen it, but like his son lost his leg.
Mm.
Yeah, his son lost his leg. His wife got hit in the back, and like, yeah, man, these people are like going through it. But you know what's crazy, man? Like I'm sorry if I'm like rambling on about this too, but this was one of the like most unique experiences I've had. Um, this like you would think like when people go through these kind of things, they'd be like, "Oh, we hate India," like in Pakistan, right? Because technically that's the Pakistan side of Kashmir that I was in, and they never said that. They never said like, "Oh, we hate India." They were just like, "Yeah, we've dealt with some issues because of it, but." There's no hate there, in their hearts. Like it's more of like we just want peace, man. Like we're in the middle of this nonsense, this political nonsense, because it's really just politics, bro. It's really just two countries and their politics. But really, these people are just kind of in the middle of it. They're simple people, good people.
it's like the narrative that like, Indians and Pakistanis hate each other. And I have a friend who, grew up in India, and he's Muslim, and he's like, I lived amongst Hindus or sorry, I was meant to say like Muslims and Hindus. Uh
Yeah, man, that's the same narrative they're always trying to push on us. Like, oh, the Muslims hate Hindus and Indians hate Pakistanis, because this is how they keep these industries rely on this conflict, like ammunition and war and the politics, the media, they love this type of salacious garbage, of like trying to push people apart. Because if could you imagine if all those people came together?
yeah, man.
It would be
It's
problems for people, right? So yeah, they like that. They like that stuff. But it's a shame because so many people suffer because of it. But I mean, it's the story of the world, man. We could get into that. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah,
conspiracy
it's
corner.
huh? Conspiracy corner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Trust me, I can go down that corner a lot. Um, but you realize like you do you have to do your part to make this world a better place, man. We could sit here and be angry about these things. I used to be really angry. I used to be an angry youth, man. Like, like I would get because I was like, quote unquote woke, whatever you want to call it. I think the whole definition of it has changed now, but like I would always like try to dig in deeper into things. Like I knew there was more to the story than what they were telling us. I guess at that time people would say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist," whatever.
Mm.
Now it's called woke. Um, but um, I used to get so angry about things. Then I realized like you can't change those things. It's just the way of the world, man. Like the people who run things, they like it this way, right? So you have to just do your part in society to try to make it a better place with whatever platform you have, whatever job you have, whatever, like just walking down the street and smiling, saying
Yeah.
hello to someone, helping somebody, just doing whatever you can.
I think there's a saying in Islam like if you help if you save one life, it's like you've saved all of humanity.
Beautiful, bro. It's beautiful. I mean, so many sayings like this in our religion that we don't even practice,
Yeah.
most of us
Right.
because it's lost upon us.
Yeah, like one thing I'm learning as I'm growing up, like the biggest thing is empathy. Like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and be like, because a lot of times we judge and like by the way someone looks or even sometimes the way they act, they might be overly aggressive, but like or rude, and but you have to like look at listen and hear their story, and then maybe you can be like, oh, this is why he acts like that, this is why he's like that, like
Yeah, bro, empathy is like one of the biggest skills that you could learn in this life,
mm,
you know? It's gonna take you a long way if you learn it, you know? It's really helped me in everything that I do. Just being able to like empathize with people and knowing like that not everybody has the same situation. People are coming from all different walks of life. So learning where they're coming from and why they are the way they are helps you deal with these people accordingly. Yeah, you're gonna run into people who are just not very nice people in life too. And you learn how to deal with that too without losing it, without getting angry about it. And yeah, man, empathy is a skill, is an underrated skill. So yeah, for sure.
uh just thought of another question.
Yeah, go for it.
With the consistency part of content, like do you have a schedule? Like do you create like, okay, I'm going to visit this country this day, this week or this month, and this is how many vlogs I'm going to put out, or is it like just spontaneous, like
So as far as the consistency part, like with dropping videos, I'm like I have to drop 4 a week. There's times where it's 3 because like I'm traveling, I'm in an area that has no Wi-Fi, that happens a lot too. But what I'm doing to solve that is like being ahead of the game and like having posts scheduled, because you could do that on YouTube. So having things uploaded just ready to drop. Um, that's for me, that's consistent. As far as the traveling part, yeah, I plan it like I'm going to this country on this day. And as far as filming, to the micro level, it's not planned because the best things come from spontaneity. Um, but yeah, I'm like, if I'm in a country, I want to get at least 2 vlogs done per day,
Yeah.
right? If I'm in your country for 2 weeks, 14 days, I should walk out with at least 20 to 28, 20 to 30 vlogs.
Mm.
Am I going to use all of them? No, most probably not. But at least be able to have that much content so that I can kind of filter out what's good and what's not so good, you know? So that's my goal always when I'm in a place to be able to walk out with like at least 20 to 30 videos.
You ever thought about like different types of content, or is this just right now your niche? Like,
Right now, man, this is what I'm doing. But yeah, I think about it. I think about it. When you say different though, like what do you mean?
I might have an idea for you. Like, mukbangs are big.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that time to time, like eating food and giving the reaction and stuff. Yeah, people like that stuff. I do that within my within my long form videos. You'll find that there's me reacting to foods. It's a big part of travel. Obviously, food is a big part of culture, man. Um, there's some cultures where like that is the culture. You know, um, so yeah, no, I definitely do that. But you mean like in a shorter form, like just having just like a quick video of you eating a food, like
Yeah, like for example, like what podcasts do is have an hour-long episode, and then they'll have a section of where they talk about a certain topic.
okay,
They'll trim that, make that a video, post that. It's like a 10-minute section, and that'll get lots of views because maybe people don't want to hear the entire podcast. They just want to see
okay.
like one part. So maybe for you, it could be like, okay, the food part, just an idea.
Mm. No, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. I'm definitely going to consider that. I'm definitely going to consider doing things like that more and more now, like shorter form, like segments
Mm.
within a long form video, and then be able to cut that and make it a thing of its own, for sure.
So my final question for you:
Yes, sir.
what is your why?
Why? Like, why do I do this?
Just in why do you wake when you wake up in the morning? What's your why? Why am I going to work? Why am I doing these vlogs? Like, what is all this for?
My why is to be happy, to know that I did everything possible in my life to like if I was not if I like if I wasn't gonna be here a few years from now, so I could say like I'm happy with what I did. You know what I mean? Like I fulfilled a purpose in my life. Also, to be able to like spread joy, to be able to spread happiness, to be able to if that's my way of helping people in some way, like if somebody watches my video and is like, oh man, like their mood gets better, like that type of stuff too, you know? So like yeah, just to kind of make my life purpose complete and to be able to like help others along the way, you know? That's it. Um I want to live a good life, man. I don't need too much. I'm a simple person for the most part, you know? A backpack is enough for me these days. You know, I got my backpack, my laptop, my phone, and my body, thank God, is healthy. But what else do you need, man? And the experiences that I'm living, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I want a lot from life, man. But most importantly, like I said before, I'm happy when I wake up because I am doing something that I love. I've been on that side where like waking up every day is like a drag, man. Like you don't even want to get up because like you're just not in a good place. I've been there. I've really dealt with that. Like the anxiety. No, I've dealt with real anxiety, man. Like like crippling anxiety. Where like just constantly in a state of tension, like where your heart is constantly beating hard and you're constantly thinking and I don't feel that so much anymore, you know?
Do you
Thank
think
God.
traveling help with that, or what else
I
help with
think doing what I love helped with that. So if if you love something, do it. As long as it's something good. Don't you know if you love heroin, don't I'm not saying do it if you know what I mean? If it's
Just clip
something
that.
productive.
Just clip
Yeah,
that part. If you love it,
yeah,
dude.
exactly. If you love something if there's something that you want to do in life that's productive and can maybe even, become something that you do as a living, go for it, man. The world is yours, man. Just gotta go for it, man. I know it's very cliche stuff. I know it sounds like, like I'm like saying some things that like, might be unrealistic to some people because I've been there in a place where like when people say these kind of things, you're like, "Ah, dude,
Yeah.
shut up. Like, come on." But there's something out there, man, that's gonna get you up and make you happy. It doesn't have to be through work either. Like if you like playing basketball, go play basketball every day. Go shoot around. If you like playing the guitar, pick up a guitar. Go get a cheap $25 guitar off eBay or whatever and play it, learn it. If you like making beats, go download FL Studio, rip it for free, man. That's what
Mm.
I did in the beginning, make beats, whatever, just whatever you like, you know. And I think that's what keeps me happy. So yeah, man, that's my why.
Awesome. Would you recommend traveling alone to someone? And if someone's like a beginner, hasn't traveled alone, like where would you recommend them to go?
Okay, so if you haven't traveled alone, go for it. I would say one, always keep your head on a swivel if you're traveling alone. You know, don't just be in La La Land. I'm a very astute and aware person. Like I always am watching my surroundings. I don't care where I am. I don't ever get too comfortable. So if you're traveling alone, yeah. I know sometimes women tell me like, oh, it's easy for you to say as a man, which maybe because I'm not a woman, I don't know what the situation is like being a woman traveling alone, but I know many women who do it as well. So, if it's something that a woman really wants to do, she could do it too. Just obviously, maybe her situation might be different than because I'm speaking as a man, right? So I don't know what a woman's situation may be, but um, yeah, just always stay aware. But yeah, travel alone. Why not, man? Sometimes the best experiences is traveling alone. When you're with other people, they have their own agenda too. So sometimes when you travel alone, yeah, you're gonna have the best time. You're gonna meet people along the way, and yeah. And so where would I travel if I was traveling alone in the beginning? If you want to start traveling alone and you still want to get some kind of like raw experiences, I would say go to like Southeast Asian countries like Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, um, you know, Vietnam. The reason why I say these countries is because they're relatively safe. Like I've been in the most like I guess you could call it like hood parts of Philippines and like Indonesia, but people are still really cool, man, really chill. Like I said, you always got to be aware, but they're still cool. And also, you could travel on a budget there. Like it's so affordable to travel there. I stay in hotels that cost me, you know, $10, $15 a night sometimes, and they're really, really nice. Like you get a bed. I mean, if you're trying to luxury travel, obviously you're gonna have to pay more. But if you are trying to do like the whole like budget traveling thing, then yeah, man, Southeast Asia is the best for budget travel, traveling solo, backpacking. It's honestly the best. Thailand, if you want to do Thailand. I personally don't love Thailand because like everybody and their mothers goes to Thailand. It's like become very, very touristy. Um, but yeah, those are great places to start. And then once you feel comfortable enough to travel alone, then you'll want to do things that are like a little bit different and off the grid. Like Africa, what I'm doing, like going to Somalia and these places, like those places you got to know somebody. I would say I wouldn't just recommend to pick up and be like, oh, I'm going to Mogadishu. Like I would say definitely do your research and maybe find a guide or somebody. I know people out there because I made friends from all over the world, so I have people that I know. But as far as like, yeah, if you want the first locations, I would say the best would be Southeast Asia for sure. Yeah.
Might consider that.
Yeah, no, you should, bro. Honestly, I think you would really, really, really enjoy it, man. Like, and the cool thing about like, I know like there's people out there that don't like, because we're Muslim, like, I know like People are afraid of like how what am I gonna eat and stuff. Like a lot of these Southeast Asian countries, especially like Indonesia and Malaysia, you're talking about dominantly Muslim countries, right? But so you'll find halal food if that's what you like, if that's what you're worried about, or like if you don't own, like me, I just don't eat pork, when I'm traveling. That's my biggest thing. So you'll find all of that. You're able to do it in these countries as well. Um, and like the food culture is amazing, the street food culture, and the people are really cool, and it's just a really, really great experience. And I would say, yeah, definitely, man, you should go for it. I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, you might learn a few things along the way.
So I appreciate you coming on, Meyer. Any questions or remarks for closing remarks?
Um, no, man, just thank you so much for inviting me onto your show, bro. I think what you're doing is really cool stuff. I think I've watched some of your interviews um with the basketball player that you had on. That was really cool. Um, like if you don't mind me asking, like what's your mission like with this? Like what kind of, because there's so many podcasts, but like
Yeah.
every podcast kind of has like their own angle to things. So like what's specifically your thing?
So there's two visions. With the basketball content, it's really to bring the the culture of basketball to Pakistan. Um, to showcase like basketball in the US. Like we know a lot of desis that hoop and are like that, like the guy I had on, but it's not like I feel like basketball can help so many people in Pakistan, like even the poverty side. It can change lives, and eventually, maybe not in our lifetime, but later, kids who didn't have a chance to live a certain life, then the sport can change that for them. And I want to be one of the founding people of that movement.
That's
So
really cool.
yeah, that's the whole basketball content. The podcast is kind of just to there's this whole movement online of like right now going on of masculinity. You see guys like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit,
Mm,
and they're pushing this red pill ideology, and it's getting a lot of traction because of young males don't have like someone in the mainstream that is pushing traditional masculinity, protect, provide, be fit,
yeah.
take care of your mental health.
It's almost like shunned upon to be this kind of man now, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And they're censoring, like, if you have certain views, you can't speak on them. Like, YouTube is a big thing with that. I do post on YouTube because it's like the main platform, but, I have on Rumble as well.
Okay.
It's like a platform that promotes,
I know. I know. Yeah, I know Rumble.
and yeah, I'm bringing on like, I have a guest that you'll like the next episode. He's a Pakistani content creator, and he does something very similar. His is in person, not Zoom, where he brings on not just people who are content creators, but people in his circle that he knows,
Okay.
and they have very interesting conversations. So my goal is to, not only bring on content creators that I watch like yourself, but people in my circle, people that I meet,
Okay.
imams, people of
Okay.
knowledge, and to promote, the real masculinity, which is, Quran and Sunnah.
Okay.
And
Cool, man. I think you're doing I think you're doing good work, man.
no, I
I
appreciate
think your mission is awesome, and I hope that I wish you the best of success. I think we all have to kind of support each other, content creator wise, Muslim to Muslim, Pakistani to Pakistani. I think a lot of people, there might be some people listen to this who are actually Pakistani and Muslim or whatever. I think in our culture, the problem a lot of times is like what I'm doing or what you're trying to do is like it's not really something that's like accepted or pushed. And the reason why a lot of media is ran by like, let's be honest, like white folks is because like their family doesn't stop them from like doing these kind of things, right? They like push them like, go Johnny, got it, like, and it's like our families are like, no, either you're a doctor or you're like an engineer or you're nothing, you know what I mean? You're useless. So I think like what I also want to show people is like you can do what you love and be successful in it and do it for real, for real. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to follow the conventional ways of doing thing that like the same thing that people are doing all the time, you know? Those things are great too. There's gonna
Yeah,
be a lot of people who do those things, but if there's something that you think you're good at and you really want to do it, then like that's I want to show like people in our culture that too, you know. That's my goal. Like, cause you know, a lot of the vloggers you see are like white guys, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, you know, we need more representation in that space, you know.
yeah. You follow Casey Neistat?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's like one of the OGs, man.
Easy.
Uh, uh,
But yeah, man, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, bro.
We can do this in the future whenever you want.
For sure,
Uh,
bro.
if maybe when you're in the States, or I don't know how it's gonna happen in person because you're always traveling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm in Florida now. You're in where are you? In South Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll try to link up, man, at some point, you know, if it happens. That'd be dope. In person would be a lot cooler. Um, but for now, yeah, I mean, I'm down to do this, man, and yeah, bro. You know, whatever I can do to help, just let me know.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on again. And guys, you can check him out. I'm gonna link his YouTube and Instagram and all his stuff in the description. Go subscribe to him. If you're interested in that type of content, he's putting out travel vlogs consistently. But yeah, man. We'll
At
see.
Myer Travels.
My
Follow it on all platforms. Very easy. Myer at Myer Travels. But thank you. And yeah, bro. Keep going. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, brother.